I've got a Lazy Boy electric rocker recliner on the bench today. It has a broken mechanism, as you can see here. And the part we're going to replace is the plastic drive toggle. Lazy Boy has come out with a new replacement part, as I mentioned in another video. It's this metal part called the Drive Toggle Clevis, or Clevis, I think is the correct pronunciation. And it replaces two of the previous plastic parts that were used, the drive toggle and the motor Clevis mount. Now you get a little kit when you order the new part. It comes with the drive toggle Clevis, an actuator pin, and a number of these plastic bearings which are used as spacers in this new installation. Also, they send you a little instruction sheet which tells you the parts you should have received in your kit, and they show a small picture of what the installation should look like. I'm going to try to show you a better view of that today. Here's the new part called the Drive Toggle Clevis. I've got it installed here, and the procedure is the same as was shown in the video Plastic Drive Toggle Replacement. But to briefly summarize, these two nuts, lock nuts and bolts are removed. They hold everything in position or in place on the drive rod. And then you open up the outside arm panel by taking it loose so you can slide the drive rod out, remove the parts till you get to the damaged one, slide it off, and then reverse the procedure by sliding the drive rod in and reinstalling the new parts as you go. Now it may sound pretty straightforward and simple, but this is a more difficult repair and I don't recommend this for everyone. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most difficult, I'd rate this a solid 4. The small instruction sheet that you get with the parts is not very helpful. So let's take a look at how to properly install the new part and the spacers that come with it. So let's start in the center. I'm going to zoom in. Now between these two spacing links, I installed two medium-length plastic bearings on each side of the new part. I also installed one of the long bearings, and notice this lip here, through the spacing link so that the lip faced the new part, and I did that on both sides. And that gave me the configuration that you see here. So I wanted to check the spacing with the old part that was removed. And that's how I made sure the spacing was correct. I was lucky that the dealer sent along a more detailed sketch, a better one. And here's the name of it if you want to request it with your part order. And it shows quite clearly how the spacers are used and where. But don't rely on this image to show you the proper position of the new part. We'll get to that in a minute. So from this sketch, I was able to determine that 3 additional spacers went here, one of which was long, 2 mediums, and same on the other side, 2 mediums and 1 long. So I ended up using more bearings than they provided. And keep in mind, if any of the existing bearings are bad, which I had one that was chewed up that had to be replaced, you'll need even more. So I recommend requesting the sketch I showed you, the mechanism sketch, and ordering all the bearings along the drive rod. Now on this particular unit here, there are 16 altogether, if you include the ones that are inserted in the arm frame on either side. Now I have seen a configuration that uses less spacers, if you will. In this area here and here, these are omitted. So that would be 6 less spacers or bearings. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward when the new chairs leave the factory with the new part, which configuration they're going to be using. And finishing up on the bearings, I should mention that any place the bearing passes through a metal part or even into the arm frame, all those bearings need to be greased before installation. So here in this view, this one, here, here, and here need grease applied before installation. Here's how to get the Drive Toggle Clevis installed in the correct position the first time. Normally when I work on Lazy Boys, I like to have the rear swing pointing forward because that's the position that tells me the footrest is fully open. And that's the orientation I usually use. And I mark the top of the drive rod with a T. But with this new part, we actually want to install it with the scissors closed. So I'm going to pull the rear swings back, simulating closing the scissors back past the rocker spring. And I'm going to mark the bottom of the drive rod with a B. And this is the orientation you want to use when you're putting this part on. So it slides on like this, with the two legs pointing towards the rear of the chair, and this little dip facing upward. Now you don't want to install it like that. This is the orientation you want. And again, this is the bottom of the drive rod. So let's go ahead and reattach this to the actuator so we can test the operation. We start with the drive toggle connector. We install it into the opening in front of the drive rod. And we line up the new part along with the actuator. Install the pin that was supplied. And the clip. Let's test it out. Okay, to finish up, I'll attach the leg rest extensions, give it another test while I still have it upside down. Once that checks out, I'll reattach the outside arm panel, turn the chair over, fully assemble it by installing the back, and give it one final test to make sure everything's working properly.